Culture swap.
Swap my culture.
What do we do this time, Liam?
This time, Jack, we did Sunstone Volume 1, which I banged on about a fair few episodes back. Like, when I very first read it, I'm sure I mentioned it to you.
You did.
On the podcast. And I don't think I maybe did the best of job explaining it, so I'm going to take a step back and let you explain it.
Just to clarify, the reason I think that you didn't do the best job of explaining it is it was during a period of time, which is still ongoing, where you were on a quest to find porn comics. Correct?
No. No, like, okay, so I have a modest collection of should we say, adult...
comic books that they sell you in paper bags so no one can see them.
Yeah, because the covers you couldn't show in a place where young eyes might see.
Yep.
But honestly, this is what started that quest, in all honesty, because I want to find more stuff like this. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff I have been finding has been interesting for different merits, but this to me is like the pinnacle of that so far, and I want more like this.
Yeah, well, maybe the issue then was that because you then went on and I saw some of the pornier comics you had gotten.
Maybe I gave you the wrong impression.
Yeah, I think it did, because... Okay. And maybe some of your descriptions. Maybe. I can't really remember.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so basically Sunstone is a graphic novel that follows two women who are both into BDSM, and they meet online, meet up. There will be spoilers in this, listeners. They meet up online, and then they agree to meet in person, and it sort of follows how their relationship sort of goes from that.
Yeah.
Is that a fair enough description of what, the basics?
I'll be honest, I went and shut my window and turned the light on, so...
Fantastic.
I think it was, yes, Jack.
I'm tempted to leave in this long laugh that you're having.
That's amazing. Anyway, yeah, no, I think that was a brilliant description.
Yeah?
Yeah. I trust that you did it justice.
Cheers, mate.
So I'm looking forward to listening back to this episode and finding out how you described it.
What did you think of it, Liam?
No, well, obviously, this is the thing. I obviously loved it, otherwise I wouldn't have suggested it. And I think one of the reasons why I suggested it is because I wanted someone else to kind of help me, not like prove, but I know I've discussed this previously, and like I know I did a bad job, so I kind of just wanted you to read it so you could let people know that I wasn't just being pervy.
He's not.
Thank you.
So there are definitely pervy scenes in it.
Yeah.
You get a couple of boob shots, but in all seriousness...
You get quite a few in Volume 1, to be fair.
Yeah, but the genuinely interesting thing in this graphic novel is not any of the sex stuff.
No, perfect, exactly.
It's the relationship between the two characters.
That's exactly... And I really liked the depiction of BDSM in this, especially compared to when we watched 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, so listeners that listen to our Mother's Day episode...
Yep.
Which was about 50 Shades of Grey if you didn't listen.
Obviously.
We raised the issue. We're not in... Well, as far as I'm aware, neither of us are BDSM
Nah,
people.
I'm not allowed.
Fair enough. And I have no one to practice with, so who knows?
You could do self-bondage, because Lisa does that when she's younger.
I'm scared that I'd tie myself up and die.
Okay.
So we had issues with the portrayal of BDSM in 50 Shades of Grey. It comes across very, like... The dom in that relationship, which is the dominant member, listeners.
Which is Christian Grey.
Yep. He has a lot of mental trauma.
Yeah, or emotional. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, one of the two. It's all sort of like they definitely try and pin. It felt to me like they were trying to sort of be like something has to happen for someone to be into this.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they sort of portray it as like, well, because she gets brought in by someone who's already in it, and she's definitely not, the most logical person in that film.
Yeah.
So, it definitely has issues with its portrayal of BDSM, whereas the way Sunstone deals with it is they sort of explain it. Like, I don't know how accurate Sunstone is.
No, because like you're saying, we're not really part of that community or scene or whatever you want to describe it as.
Yeah, exactly. But it definitely felt like a fairer portrayal, where... It's just two people who are basically it's almost like they describe it as role-playing, right?
Yeah.
And you sort of get to see this behind the mask sort of thing, where you get Lisa and Ali, you get moments where they're just talking to each other.
Yeah. Well, so, because it basically, I think what the key difference is this really emphasises that foundation of trust that I think
Yes.
is missing from 50 Shades of Grey, where that feels very, like, predatory almost.
Yeah, definitely.
And this feels like a very, like, it's a mutual thing. They trust each other, and I really feel like that's the element that 50 Shades is missing. I really liked in this the way they talked about the aftercare process.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, again, like, this is my first encounter of that kind of
yeah, I'd never
aspect.
heard of that before.
Yeah, and to explain what that is, it's basically a way of just kind of like decompressing afterwards, where you both just kind of make sure the other person, saying like making sure they're okay is a bit of a wrong way of describing
Yeah, no, because it's more like it's more like in the role play of, you know, BDSM.
Yeah,
they define the two roles. The two roles are very clear. Like, someone is in charge and someone is the submissive, who sort of the dom is basically playing with and getting them to feel pleasure, but mixed with a little bit of pain sometimes, and sort of just basically heightening this sex.
And aftercare is more just resetting those boundaries. So
yeah,
you're both
it's like
they
they
take
spoon,
away the roles.
they kiss.
Yeah,
it's
shower.
just them being tender with each other, effectively.
Yeah, definitely. But
and
like, so we're talking a lot about the sex innocent. And did you find the way it was kind of depicted as sexy?
I mean, yeah, it definitely is sexy, but I want to make it clear that it is such a minor part of why I love this book.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to explain.
Like, there was no point when I was reading it that I was like, come on, get to the sex scenes.
Yeah, and
if anything, it gets to a sex scene, and if the sex scene is more than like 2 pages long, I'm like, can you please get back to their adorable friendship?
And this is the issue I have when trying to recommend this book to people, because they struggle to get over that, and especially when I'm recommending, they just assume it's going to be like non-stop.
You have a reputation.
Yeah, but I feel like it's. I was almost going to say like a mislabeled reputation, but like I do still like my characters and my relationship stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the element that's most prominent and most enjoyable in this.
Yeah, I think they're really believable characters who are genuinely seem like really nice people who you would want to hang out with.
Definitely, yeah, exactly. I like as well that they describe like this like BDSM stuff as them just being like sexual nerds.
Yes, yeah.
I really like Stepan Shayek's artwork. Like, it's just, I love the kind of at the back it's got like a load of covers and stuff. They look great, like kind of quite realistic looking. But then some of the actual images in the comic itself, they're quite sketchy looking. Yeah.
So when I was reading about it, Liam.
Yeah.
Apparently the original artwork that he'd done, because I don't know if you know, but this started as a web series.
Yeah, well, it started as a Deviant art account.
So the story is, it initially started as a bunch of like he to take a break because he was writing
Ravine, I think it was, or Witchblade, something like that. Yeah,
and then that other one, that fantasy one.
Yeah,
and he said it was starting to get like, he started to not enjoy the process as much.
Yeah,
which he didn't like because he'd always loved drawing and stuff.
Yeah.
So then to like take a break from that almost, or to at least give himself another outlet, he started a Deviant account where he started drawing pin-up girls.
Yeah.
And then a few of those characters he started to draw more of, which was Lisa, Ali, and another character.
Yeah, who appears in later on in Sunstone, but not in Volume 1.
Yeah. And so he drew them, then they started to take on life, like around his drawings. He was like seeing more about them, and like, you know, how writers always say, you know, you start to write about these characters because they start having a life that you're like, oh, I should write this.
Yeah.
And then that expanded into a web series.
Yeah.
That he started about Lisa and Ali, I think.
Yeah.
I haven't read the web series, which then someone else picked up and was like, we want to do a graphic novel.
Yeah, and this was like the origin of, I think he said, like, this is the story of how they met.
Yeah. But then, so the original art style was very realistic.
Okay.
And he basically, in one of the things he was talking about, he said he basically went and looked at all the work and was like, because they were like, we'll just chuck it all together and release it as this graphic novel.
Yeah.
And he was like, but the way I've drawn stuff has changed so much, and some scenes are going to look weird because they've got a slightly different art style to what I've got now.
Okay.
So he basically went back and redrew a lot of the scenes
and,
and basically improved on the story, where he was like, oh, this doesn't fit with who they are now.
Yeah.
So he almost rewrote. So a lot of the art is, you know, this whole sort of perfect, like, to me it seems like a really good mix of cartoony / realism.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, it doesn't look cartoony, like you're never looking at it and being like, this is ridiculous.
No.
But it's simplistic
at times.
What's the word?
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? It's not.
Minimalist.
I don't think it's that. Minimalist. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the art style in this is just incredible. All the art is great.
Yeah, I also thought there's a good like element of humour to it as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. There are some really funny things.
And it's very like self-aware. Like it even opens by being like, so this is a story about how I fell in love with a girl. Wait, I promise there's lesbian sex as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So like,
because the whole point is it's meant to be Lisa in the future
telling this story.
Yeah, telling the story of how her and Ellie meet. Yeah.
Yeah. Has it got you curious about trying BDSM? Or has it got you like... Because I know when we've spoken about it in the past, you've been very like adamant, like, no, I would never try that. I don't like pain.
This seems like such a personal question for you to ask me.
It's the Nerd on Nerd podcast, Jack. We ask the tough questions.
Oh, great. Fantastic. My parents listen to this.
And I'm sure they're about to learn something.
Fantastic. I don't know. I guess if someone were to be like, do you want to try BDSM? If it was like this, where they talk about establishing boundaries and stuff.
Yeah.
Then sure, fuck it.
Because I remember when I first spoke about this, rereading this jogged my memory of when I first mentioned it to you, and I was trying to explain their first encounter, where essentially Ali has Lisa, I think, roped up onto a bed, and it's just saying to her, I am not going to do anything painful to you unless you call me mistress.
Yes, I remember you telling me this.
Yeah, and you just
you saying, would you say mistress?
Yeah, exactly. And I wasn't explaining it well, and you wasn't really understanding what I was trying to explain. So now, after you've seen that scene, how would you feel if you was in that scenario?
It would depend, I guess.
Okay.
Because that's the whole point. Is it would depend on if they knew you well enough to get you to say it.
Yeah, because it's all about teasing without really like giving you that like pleasure you're craving.
Yeah, and I think Lisa says the whole point is because, like, so if someone was doing it randomly, I wouldn't say it because that's not
Weird.
The point.
Yeah.
But because they're aware that they're role playing effectively, and I think Lisa's like, the whole point of this scene is that I've got to pretend I don't want to say yes, even though both of us know that eventually I'm going to cave.
Yeah.
The whole point is I have to try and resist because that's the point, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not resist. Maybe resist is the wrong word.
No, I think resist is right, but like resist to a point.
Yeah.
Like that's the game essentially.
Yes.
I'm so pleased you've read it though.
Yeah, I'm glad I've read it,
and I'm really pleased that you liked it. I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I fucking loved it.
That's good. Is there anything else about it that you loved? Because we haven't really gone into spoilers. But I don't know if you can spoil something like this, can you? Because
this first volume,
yeah,
there's not a huge amount of
it is
plot
literally
reveals.
Yeah, it is literally just two characters meeting, and they're essentially just their first weekend together. Yeah,
you're getting a real establishing shot, effectively, of these two characters, what their basic personalities are, and how they are with each other.
And I think this maybe is the volume that you get the most sex stuff in, I think. Because
you might get more. I will reveal, listeners.
Oh, you're going to reveal that you cheated?
I didn't cheat, Liam, because I'm not going to talk about the other volumes.
Okay.
I have read all 5 volumes because I loved this book so much, and Liam let me read it on Friday night.
Yeah, I think that was my mistake.
Yeah, you should have saved it till Saturday night.
Yeah.
Because I would have survived that. But I read it Friday night, and then Saturday rolled round, and we were sitting on the sofa, and I started looking on Amazon on Kindle and was like, oh, I can get all 5 in a bundle. I really want to read them. I can't wait because I need to know what happens. So I downloaded them and read them.
But we'll talk about that on like next week's housekeeping.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about anything, but I was just going to say I think Volume 5 maybe has more sex in it.
Okay.
Potentially.
But this does have like a fair amount. Not too much.
Yeah, no, this does, yeah. Even then, it's not like... So that they do a really clever way of dealing with the sex.
Yeah, they never take it too far.
Yeah, basically you get the build-up, you get part of the BDSM experience.
Yeah.
And then the way they write around it is Lisa from the future who is writing this story says there was a moment where that was like the moment all the pleasure had built up and I basically forget what happened.
Yeah.
Because it just became very intense.
Yeah.
So you don't see the most intimate moment
of
the encounter.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the sex is in service of the story, not the other way around, if that makes sense.
Yes. It doesn't feel like it's been placed in there to draw you in. It doesn't feel like it's been placed in there awkwardly.
No.
It feels like it's a natural progression in the story and like the natural thing that would happen.
Yeah.
And they sort of give you the right amount for it not to become awkward and you to be like, oh god, am I just reading some
Yeah, it doesn't feel
horrible porn
exploitative
comic?
at any point.
No.
I don't really think I have a lot of like criticisms for this, to be honest.
No, I'm trying to think. Is there anything? There was. I get the only criticism I have, and it's probably not even a big criticism really,
Yeah.
is the way when Alan gets introduced into the story, who is Ali's like best friend from college.
Yeah.
There's a scene where it felt awkward, but that's only because they hadn't explained the character properly yet, I think.
Okay.
Like, I think the first time he sort of meets Lisa.
Oh,
There was
and he sees her because she's wearing
Yeah.
a robe open.
And there's like a little bit where there was a little scene where I was like, oh, is it about to get creepy? But I think they resolve it in the same volume. They're like,
Yeah,
they
no,
then
they
sort of
do.
give you a glimpse of Alan's character and you're like, oh no, Alan's not creepy. He's the Liam of that friendship.
Yeah. You see his internal monologue where he's like,
Yes. All the dirty things he could say.
yeah, exactly.
And he's basically just trying to annoy Ali.
Yeah, and I see where you're coming from, but like you said, they do resolve it very quickly as well.
Yeah, so it's not even an issue. It's just there was that one, I think like 2 panels where I was like, oh, is it about to get creepy?
Yeah,
It didn't.
but this is just, I think tender is a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I hope that if we have, because I did say on the last episode, I really want people to go and read this, and I really want them to email us if they have. And we did have someone email us.
Was it Kat?
Yeah, I made her.
Yeah.
Because I made her read this volume, and I think I made her read the second, but she wasn't quite enjoying it as much as I was. Because she loves her horror comics, you see, and there's not enough of that in these. Kat emailed saying, I enjoyed Sunstone. It did have more story to it than I expected, in a good way. Despite being about BDSM, it is tasteful and actually more focused on a genuine relationship. It's never sleazy, and although nothing particularly special, the artwork is decent.
I was on board till those last few sentences.
Yeah, I mean, I think the artwork's amazing, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of agree with what she's saying. Otherwise, about
Oh yeah, the first part.
yeah.
But yeah, honestly, listeners, if you haven't read this and you like comic books and you want to read a genuinely good love story, this book is it.
Yeah, like I don't know how to describe it in a way. It's why I really wanted to talk about it, because I wanted to put more focus and attention on it.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it could be very easily overlooked and dismissed as just
100%. It would be the easiest thing to just glance at it and be like, and to misjudge it completely. This is a really good example of not judging a book by its cover.
Yeah, definitely. So I really genuinely hope that this has at least got people intrigued, and they'll go and kind of at least look it up and find a little bit more about it, and then decide if it's for them or not.
Yeah.
What would you give it out of 5?
The first volume,
Yeah.
I think 4 out of 5.
Okay.
What would you give it?
I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Just because the first time I read it was a fair few months ago, and now going back to it and reading it again, it's just as enjoyable.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of things that they kind of offhandedly mention that now, having read later on, are little references to things that happen later.
Fair enough. I already am like, I want to go back and reread this, but I'm waiting. I want it to be a longer time.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It is just so good, though. I'm really looking forward to the next housekeeping, where you talk about the other 4 volumes.
Yes.
Because I was going to say to you, would you carry on reading this? But that's a bit of a moot point.
Yes, it turns out the answer is yes, immediately.
Yeah, I don't think we've done anything so far where you've been this eager to do more.
No,
of it.
yeah. That's the thing, is usually we sort of have I think it's an unspoken rule in that we haven't said it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But we've always discussed, and I've always thought it's better to not read or watch the next stuff, because it gives you the unbiased view of the first volume.
Yeah, you don't want to like taint it in any way.
Yeah, but I honestly couldn't not read the rest. I spent Saturday night, Sunday night.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Did I text you on Sunday?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah,
and
so
I think you I don't want to give any spoilers, but you definitely
No.
got emotional about it.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, so it literally, like, the Sunday night I remember, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I want to play on my PS4. I'll just read a couple of pages of Sunstone, maybe finish off the volume I'm on. And then I just was like, oh, I can't. I have to finish the story.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah. So honestly, listeners, please go read it. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way of ending Culture Swap this week.
Yeah, one that we agreed on again, Liam.
I know, and one that I recommended and you didn't hate.
It's a nice change.
I feel like there's been a couple.
I just need to find one that I recommend that you don't hate.
Yeah, preferably an anime when we get back to that. I would be really pleased if you found me an anime I didn't
I am
hate.
trying to. I'm trying to find you one that I think you will like.
But we have to do Barefoot again first. That's the
I think
rule.
your name. I think your name when that comes out.
October. I looked it up.
So yeah. So when we do that, I genuinely think you'll like it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I might just end our friendship.
Fair enough. What are we doing next time?
So next time we're doing Ozark, which is a new Netflix series starring Jason Bateman.
Yes. I think it's only just came out maybe on Friday or something.
I know nothing about it, Liam.
No, I don't. Kat did describe it to me as... She said it's like Breaking Bad meets something else, but she couldn't remember what the something else was. And was like, if you see the trailer, you'd know what I mean. But I haven't seen the trailer yet. And I know how you feel about Breaking Bad, so I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, Breaking Bad is like my equivalent of your superhero films, where you're completely counter to everyone else's opinion.
I disagree. I feel like I tend to like superhero films. I'm just a lot more critical than everyone else.
Yeah, I liked the first series of Breaking Bad.
See, that's one of the slower ones, I thought.
No, I don't fucking remember. I just remember getting like halfway through series 2 and being like, I'm not watching this anymore.
I know we've discussed this before, but I genuinely do feel like you would enjoy it if you like got into it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I probably would. But it's, it's been out for ages.
Has your dad
don't care
watched
enough to
it?
watch it? No, he would love it. He would love it.
Why don't you watch it with him at some point?
I can't. It's too long. There's too many seasons. We've got so much other stuff to watch.
No, but there's like, 5 seasons? And
Yes,
they're
a lot.
all like 12 episodes or less?
Yes, a lot.
Is it though?
Yes.
Fine. Any final thoughts, Jack?
BDSM is the new black.
What?
Bye. Bye.